guys, Julia here. The holiday season is in full swing, but that also means that the end of the year is approaching. And as the end of the year approaches, I always like to take a look back over the many books that I've read over the year. So I have 5 of my favorite books from 2018 that I would like to share with you all. Now, this was a very difficult decision to make. I read so many good books over this year, and just because your book was not on the list doesn't mean that it didn't make it there. Here are a list of honorable mentions that I just couldn't bear not to include in this video. These are in no particular order. I didn't do like a number 1, number 2, or anything. These are just the top 5 because I can't choose number 1. They're just all very different. Book number 1 is Caroline Kepnes's You. I think I said that right. Kepnes? Anyway, it's a great book. So they actually just came out with a TV show on this book, and honestly, I think the TV show actually did a really great job. Usually I'm not big with book to movie or book to TV show adaptations, but I think this show did a really good job of capturing the vibe and the feel of this book. You follows a how do I say this? You follows this guy named Joe in New York City, and Joe has a problem. He has a tendency to obsess over and stalk women that he sees. So the book starts when he meets this girl named Guinevere. Joe calls her Beck for short. So Joe works at a bookstore, and one day he meets Beck and he starts obsessing over her, and he finds all of her social media and finds all of her personal information and basically starts to craft this plan to win her over. But as the story goes on, it gets more and more complicated because Beck has a boyfriend, which if Joe is going to be her lover, then that's a problem because there's already another man. So Joe has to take care of that situation. Beck has her own secrets that need to be dealt with, so Joe has to uncover those. Honestly, this book was so crazy from start to finish. It was just a wild roller coaster ride. It was really dark and a little bit disturbing, but I happen to like those kinds of books, and I just absolutely loved you. Not you. I mean, I love you guys too, but the book. You get what I mean. Book number 2 that I loved from 2018 is called The Retreat. Now, this book was actually from a book box that I got called Once Upon a Book Club. I highly recommend it. It is super cool. They send you these gifts every month with the books that you're reading, and then when you get to a certain page, you open the gift, and something that the character is using or discovers in the book you have in real life, which is just, it's so cool. The whole system and the whole concept is so creative, and I love it so much, and I love every single book that they give me, but especially this one was just so cool. So the book starts off following this woman named Julia, which is my name, which I absolutely love. And she has a husband and a daughter, and one day the daughter goes missing while they're walking, and everyone thinks that the daughter drowned in a river because they found one of her toys floating in the river, but Julia thinks that something else happens. So 2 years pass, and there's still nothing. The whole town assumes that her daughter is dead and that Julia is just insane, and that they think that she's seeing things and making up things because she thinks that her daughter is still alive. So she's trying to move on. She's trying to accept the fact that her daughter is dead, even though in the back of her mind she really still thinks that she's alive. So she decides to open up her house as a writer's retreat. So one of her first guests is named Lucas, and Lucas starts to realize that there is more to Julia than meets the eye, and she may not be crazy after all. It is such a thrilling novel. It's beautifully written, and there's a lot of really touching moments in it. If you're looking for a book that's a little bit scary, a little bit of romance, and a lot of unexpected twists, I highly recommend The Retreat by Mark Edwards. Book number 3 from 2018 that I absolutely fell in love with is She's Not Here by Mandy Lynn. So first off, I absolutely love this cover. It's absolutely gorgeous, and it is just so cool, and there's so many little details in it that came together as the book went on, and I absolutely loved it. The main character's name in She's Not Here is Willow, which is so funny because my name is Willow. So Willow's father had Alzheimer's, and she was forced to watch him diminish away slowly but surely as the disease took over his mind and made him lose all of his memories. So after he died, Willow became frantic and desperate to find a cure for Alzheimer's. Willow discovers this serum that could, in theory, take away all effects of Alzheimer's from someone's mind, but she needs someone to test it on. So she works at a hospital, and there is a fire that happens in a house in the neighborhood, and these two young girls come in, and Willow decides to begin experimenting on one of the young girls. It's one of those books where you could so easily hate the main character and not feel at all for what she's doing, but I felt my heart going out to Willow because you just know everything that she's been through, and you know that what she's doing, she's not doing out of spite or out of hatred, but out of desperation. And because of it, your heart and your mind are so torn because you know what she's doing is wrong, but at the same time, you can't help but feel for her, and you can't help but vote for her and hope that this works out for her. So I highly recommend She's Not Here by Mandy Lynn. Book number 4 from 2018, I actually got as an advanced reader copy from the BookCon in New York City, and I'm so glad that I did. The title of the book is We Sold Our Souls by Grady Hendrix. So this is another horror book, and it was one of those books where when I picked it up, I wasn't sure if I was going to like it because I'm not a huge death metal fan or a huge rock and roll fan. So when I saw this cover, I wasn't really sure what I was in for, if I would like it, but I ended up really enjoying this book. It tells the story of a rock band whose lead singer was thrown into stardom while the rest of the band sort of faded away into the background. And years later, the lead guitarist is coming back and trying to find the lead singer and to reconcile with what's happened and to kind of move on. But she realizes that not everything is what it seems, and this supposed random jump into fame for this lead singer may not have been by accident at all, and there might be something deeper and darker going on. I am so glad that I picked up this book, and I'm so glad that I got it signed because I really enjoyed it. It was just such a wild ride, and I had no idea what was going to happen, and there were so many beautifully artistic moments, especially in the description of music. I play multiple instruments, and music has been a huge part of my life, but I've never really seen a book describe music the way that this book has done before, and it really captures the essence and the love that people have for it when their whole life revolves around it. It was so beautiful, and there were certain sentences that I just reread over and over and over again because it was just so beautifully written, and I couldn't get enough of it. So if you're looking for a book that's a little bit scary and has some great descriptions and great writing, I highly recommend We Sold Our Souls. Last but not least, my final top 5 pick for 2018 is Neil Abramson's Just Life. This was another one of those books where when I picked it up, I wasn't really sure what to expect. It is a dog book, and I've read a lot of dog books, and after a while, I feel like they kind of repeat themselves, you know, with the dog, and usually the dog dies, and I always cry when the dog dies because that's the kind of person I am. But this book was really interesting and really well done. I'm trying to describe it. It's really hard to put it into words, to be honest. There were so many different facets of this writing and of this plot that it took me until halfway through the book to realize how all of this was gonna come together, and all of the pieces that seemed so separate were interconnected in ways that were just really beautiful. It had some really great messages. It follows this woman named Samantha who runs a no-kill shelter in New York City. One day, there's this breakout of this virus that seems to be spreading through dogs, and all these dogs that are in New York City suddenly need a place to go. The whole city's being evacuated. People and families are getting torn apart because their dogs have to be taken away, and Samantha is trying to figure out what's going on and at the same time to save all of the animals that she can. So it ends up spreading throughout the city, and all these people start getting involved, and some people are for her cause, other people just want to kill all the animals. It's one of those books that really makes you question the importance of life, not only the life of humans, but also the life of animals as well, and when and if a line is drawn between them, and when you have to choose between the two of them, what is gonna happen. I highly recommend it if you're looking for a bit of a tearjerker, but overall just a really good book that at the end you have a lot of feel-good feels. So it was a really just beautiful read. I really enjoyed all the books I read this year. There weren't really any that I hated. Honestly, I don't think I even put any of them down, which is really nice. I think I finished all the books that I started this year. So it was just a really great year for reading. How was your year of reading? Please leave your thoughts and your opinions in the comments below. If you have a top 5, I'd love to hear that as well and see if any of ours match. Thank you for stopping by. Bye!